Hey guys, welcome back to the definitive guide to Dark Souls, and we'll be covering New Londo today.
Yeah, so New Londo's actually deceptively small, and just to mention a few things before we go, you can do New Londo before you
Kill Sith, but you do need to kill Sith to traverse the Abyss.
No.
And you can do New Londo.
No, you can do New Londo
Before
you place the Lord Vessel.
That's how you become a Dark Wraith. Instead of giving the Lord Vessel a
Frampt.
Yeah, Frampt. You go down, you kill the four kings, and then Darkstalker Karth appears, and you give Karth the Lord Vessel, and they get the chance to join the Dark Wraith Covenant. That's how you become a Dark Wraith. So,
but we will show you that in the Covenant guide in more detail. Just going to mention it
yeah,
now.
of course. It doesn't change the end anyway. That's the only way you can enter the Dark Wraith Covenant. It's a simple condition. And then upon 10 PvP victories, you get the Red Eye Orb as opposed to the Cracked one, which is a permanent orb that you can use to invade whenever you want. It's got unlimited uses, etc. etc. That is the ideal covenant to be in for PvP, if you want to invade all the time without any restrictions. But if you want to, probably the best covenant for PvP really would be the Dark Moonblade, because you get all sorts of stuff. You get to invade people who've been addicted, you get to invade people who have sinned, essentially. There's countless people.
So by this point we have spoken to the Crestfallen Warrior and exhausted all his dialogue.
Yeah, you want to do that after the Lord Vessel so that it becomes an enemy down here.
If you do it whenever, it'll just become an enemy down here.
You can kill him whenever you want. You really don't even need to do this. This is just to show you how his quest line essentially ends.
Yeah.
The way it works is that he ends up going insane. If you take a look at his dialogue, it's got a rather heavy implication that he's gradually going more and more insane because of all the heroes he's seen come and go through Firelink Shrine, appear and disappear and never come back, because time is essentially incredibly convoluted in Dark Souls. So, I mean, there is really no time scale in Dark Souls, so he's seen people come and go, and it can be months, years before they come back, essentially, from his perspective.
So what we've just done there is there was the pot with the body, and we picked up the Transient Curse. Now the Transient Curse is necessary for hitting these ghosts, otherwise... Or
the Transient Curse, or you can be cursed from a basilisk in Blighttown.
Make sure to get this Transient Curse here at this pot, which a lot of people overlook.
So you can be cursed via the frog things, the basilisks that are in the depths.
Yeah.
You can use Transient Curse, or if you've put the points into it, you can burn the Soul of Sith into the cursed version of Artorias' sword. That's the one that doesn't do any magic damage, just physical damage. It's cursed. You can use the sword to block, you can use the sword to attack, but you won't be able to use your shield because your shield isn't cursed. So if you don't have Transient Curse and you do have the cursed sword of Artorias, then you can come down this way without the Transient Curses. The Transient Curse is better because you get to use a lightning weapon or any other elemental weapon really that suits your build. Yeah. And you get the implications that you're cursed, so the ghouls become much easier. Plus you get to block with a 100 block shield when you're Transient Cursed as well.
Not only that, Transient, the game gives you 4 Transient Curse right at the beginning, and that should be that should definitely be enough.
Even if it isn't, Transient Curse has got a pretty... Look, there's some right there, I believe. Is that a Ghost Blade? That's a Jagged Ghost Blade.
So there's 2 different kinds of ghosts. They both look pretty much the same. But you get the normal ghosts, and then you get Banshee ghosts that scream. Yeah. There's only 2 of them, but
kill them while they scream. After they scream, they give themselves a small attack buff, and what ends up happening is they change so many strikes into you in the one go that it's almost an instant kill in the majority of cases. They can fire
lightning at you as well.
Yeah, they just cook you with lightning essentially while beating the shit out of you after they scream, so be careful of that.
Normal ghosts will drop the Jagged Ghost Blade, but these Howling Banshee ghosts...
You'll see one actually right now, because we're coming around the corner to one where the... what is it behind it again? It's a soul pack, is it not?
I think maybe that or more Transient Curse. The point is the normal ghosts drop the Jagged Ghost Blade, and these ones drop the normal Ghost Blade. So yeah,
they scream. We unfortunately missed the running attack, but the heavy attack hits twice, and that's Transient Curse.
More Transient. So the game gives you actually 6 Transient Curse. So I mean, you can just run past all these ghosts. So I mean, this should be no issue.
Yeah. If you want the quickest way through New Londo, you do need the Dark Woodgrain Ring, and you want to go on. There's a YouTuber called Vegeta. Kick this ladder. It's a shortcut. What you do then is when you go to the top of the stairs at the start, you just roll off down to the platform below. You can climb the ladder. But yeah, if you want the shortcut
later on anyway.
No, I'm talking about the shortcut that goes. See that first.
No, I'm pretty sure we show the shortcut later on in the video.
No, because we didn't use the Dark Woodgrain Ring one. There's one with the Dark Woodgrain Ring where see when you get to the top of the steps. See that second room you're in where all the ghouls spawn, where we picked up the Jagged Ghost Blade.
Yeah.
There's a roll that you can do with the Dark Woodgreen Ring, if you get the angle on it right and you get the distance on it right, you can actually flip over the small ledge and land below, and you land right in front of the fog gate that takes you up the stairs that lead into here.
Huh.
So go on to, I think the account is Vegeta, I think it's Vegeta 611 or something like that. I can't remember exactly, but these steps. But yeah, go on to Vegeta's account if you want to see all the shortcuts. These steps, about the 5th or 6th step down, is a safe zone. Any ghouls that have aggro you, if you stand on these steps, they'll lose their aggro. So if you've took your time going through here, you can wait till your Transient Curse wears off and then pop another one before you come in here, where there are plenty of ghosts to satisfy your killing needs.
Yeah, you definitely want to make sure that your Transient Curse hasn't worn off when you go into here, because
yeah, there's a lot.
As you can see, we end up having a bit of a hard time in.
Yeah. Try to land the heavy with no poise is rather difficult here, so you do need to be careful.
Yeah.
Wolf Ring would probably make this easier, because then you can take 2 hits from the ghost before you're staggered.
Yeah, probably. This is probably the only real area in the game where the Ring of Fog isn't as useful, but obviously the probably best off to use the Wolf Ring.
Or if you're not using the Ring of Favour and Protection, you can use both if you want to manage both enemy aggro and not getting staggered immediately. Kill this Banshee instantly. It's the first thing you want to kill in this room.
Yeah, definitely.
Because I believe on the test one you had some trouble with this Banshee. You ended up getting killed in this room because the Banshee hit you with lightning while you were trying to kill these, and more Transient Curse. So it's an exceptionally high drop rate. We've got 0 humanity, not even using the Covet's Ring, so our item discovery is at 100 out of the 410 that it can be. So it's a quarter of what it should be, and we're still getting Transient Curse and Jagged Ghostblade drops. So
exactly.
The standard Ghostblade, you can only get that off of the Howling Banshee. You can't get it off of the other ones. So there's only 2 enemies in the entire game that drop the Ghostblade. So if you are doing it, it can take you quite a while. That's why it's the rarest weapon in the game to get.
So here we've got Ingward, which is one of the sealers of New Londo, and basically you talk to him and he gives you the key to the seal.
You can kill him and get it, but there is a bug on the PC version where sometimes when you kill him you don't get the seal, and then you can't progress through the game anymore, so do be careful if you are playing this on PC.
I did not know that.
There is a bug, it's on the wiki form. I don't think they've patched it yet. Well, as far as I'm aware, they haven't patched this bug. They may have, but the last update to the wiki has no signs of a patch.
The point is, you might as well just keep him anyway. Once you've defeated the 4 kings and you come back here and talk to him, he'll end up showing up at Firelink Shrine and he can heal your curses.
Yeah, he can remove your curses. Yeah, it's a small price. He does sell the sorcery resist curse. I wish it was a remove curse one, because it'd be far more useful. What it does is it stops curse build up in the same way that moss stops poison bleed and bleed build up.
So it's not really very good.
Yeah, it's not even worth using because the curse bite ring is where we're facing right now. The roof, the end of the roof behind us, there's a curse bite ring on a ledge below that, which we'll get later on.
Now the reason you want the curse bite ring is when we go to the next area, Seath, when we're doing him, all his attacks can curse you, but if you're using the curse bite ring, it gives you so much curse resistance that it's just not an issue.
I believe it gives you 40. It boosts your curse resistance up by 40, which, although it doesn't sound like a lot, but in the same respect, I
thought it was like 100 or something.
No, it's 40. It's 40 boosted by, and although it doesn't sound like a lot, the Wolf Ring boosts your poise by 40. You can take 2 or 3 hits from pretty much every enemy in the game, apart from the massive ones like the Titanite demons and the Minotaur the Minotaur enemies. But I mean, you can. It's only 40, but it is quite a significant jump when you look at it in terms of both the Wolf Ring and the Cursebite Ring and stuff like that. The Ring of Steel Protection is also a 40. It's a 40-point defensive buff, and that is a significant buff against physical enemies.
So regardless of the amount that it gives you, the Cursebite Ring, in our opinion, is definitely a useful thing to get. And this also gives a sort of doing the catacombs first, then coming here, then doing Seath, then doing Lost Isleth. It generally flows quite well just doing it in that order. That's the order you do it. You can do whatever order you want, but that's just how we do it.
Personally, the toughest thing that I find in this new Londo area is your positioning, because the ghosts can basically walk through walls, and if you haven't pulled them out of the wall, you can't really hit them, but they can still hit you. So it is about positioning when you're taking on these ghosts. You do want to pull them away from the wall and get them out of there so you can hit them. If they're on the edge of the wall, like just literally at the block for the wall, you can hit them through it with a lightning weapon and a physical weapon. It will ping off, but you can do it. But you do want to drag them out. So upon picking up the Cursebite Ring, another ghoul spawns behind you. Easy. take him out. You should have a +5 lightning weapon by now anyway if you've been following this guide, which is more than sufficient for taking you through the entire game.
Yeah, easily.
Lightning halberd, lightning claymore, anything like that. Any lightning weapon that has like over 250 physical and lightning damage at +5 is more than ideal for taking you through the entire game.
Now, coming down here and you'll get a green Titanite shard. This is a green Titanite shard that you can get early on in the game if you need it, but there is earlier green Titanite shards that you can get. And we'll bring a video of things that you can get before gargoyles and things you can get before Quelag, blah 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 blah.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah,
you can pick up everything in this game before Sen's Fortress without killing the gargoyles, which I find amazing.
Yeah, basically.
It is a far more difficult route to take going through Blighttown before going through the Undeadburg, but if you can manage that, then you'll be in, like, Undeadburg will be you just walk through it essentially. You have so much, you'd have leveled up so much, you'd have had all sorts after killing Quelag and Ceaseless Discharge if you use the little glitch that we managed to use. Then
so there you go, it's the random humanity and another rare ring of sacrifice. So just drop down here and then now we're off to open up the gate thing.
No, we're going to grab the composite bow first.
Well, yeah, we do that as well, but it's on the way. So when you come up here, this is where you get the composite bow. It's a sort of middle of the ground, middle of the road bow.
It's essentially the bow you want to use if you haven't leveled up your strength and dexterity. If you're not going for a dex build, then the composite bow is good. It's got C and C scaling in both strength and dex. It has lower range than the majority of bows, but I'm under the impression that it definitely seems to fire quicker than the short bow. It does have less ability scaling, so you do want to make that like a lightning bow or a fire bow, something that won't scale, and it'll do tons of damage, and it's the quickest firing bow of any element as well. So if you go for lightning and you use something like poison arrows, you do tons of damage in an incredibly quick amount of time compared to using a longbow or a short bow, or the bow of Faris for that matter as well.
But I mean, all the bows generally have their own purpose in this game, so that is quite good. So once we've drained New Londo, we can continue on with it.
And just as a bit of background information and lore for New Londo, the reason why the city was flooded, if you talk to Ingward, if you go through his dialogue, he basically tells you what it is that's happened, is once Gwyn gave part of his soul to the Four Kings for protecting New Londo throughout the Age of the Dragons and helping him start the Age of Fire where the dragons were pretty much extinct, he gave them a shard of the Lord's soul that he possessed. And what happened next after the Four Kings went back to New Londo is they were consumed by the fragment of Lord's soul. It was only a small fragment, so think of what the entire soul must have done to like Gwyn and the Pygmy and stuff like that. It was only a small fragment, but a little bit of corruption, and when the Dark Wraiths came to New Londo, they were essentially completely evil. Ingward and two of his friends, they're known as the Sealers of New Londo. They're the ones that wear the Crimson Robe set. One of them died in Blighttown, hence why you have the armour here. They went to Blighttown to try and help build like poison resistant spells and stuff like that to help the people of Blighttown survive and not morph into some horrid creature. The other one we can only assume is running around with Lautrec, because that's the next time you see him is when you invade Lautrec. You fight an enemy who's in crimson armour. And of course Ingward is the only one who stayed in New Londo to watch over it after they flooded the city to eliminate the Dark Wraith problem, but as you can see they didn't really eliminate it, they just postponed it until the Chosen Undead came.
So as you can see, when that giant gate led into Valley of the Drakes, and now you will be fighting Dark Wraith enemies. Now they do pack a good punch no matter what armour you're wearing really, but they're really easy to block and dodge because they're all just humanoid enemies, so just backstab them.
This combo here, there's a combo they do that you may want to look out for. It's a sync. This one here, I believe it is. No, he's not doing it with backstab.
We'll point out when they do it.
It starts with a vertical chop, and then they just go into this spinning combo where they hit you with like 3 or 4 attacks within a couple of seconds, and it does do quite a significant amount of damage, so do be careful.
Now, Dark Wraiths are really good enemies because they are the only things that, aside from the giant sentinels in Orlando, these are the enemies that drop Titanite chunks significantly. So this is what
they also drop slabs as well if you're lucky. There was a run I done in New Londo where I got 3 Titanite slabs from them, and essentially what you want to do is if you are farming for Titanite chunks and slabs, when you do get your first slab, just keep farming for another hour or so, because after one slab the chances of getting another one seem to improve greatly. So I mean, I done it in one run, I got 3 slabs, which of course anyone who gets 3 slabs in one run from standard enemies is going to be more than happy with that. So that was a pretty lucky run in my part.
Pick up that soul packet and just continue on. When you walk around, this is where we get the very large ember, which can be used to upgrade your normal weapons to plus 15.
Yep, you need this to go from plus 10 to plus 15. So plus 10 is the highest you would need to ever take a weapon if you're putting it down an element path. Plus 15 is if you're going for what's the name of that build again? Shit, no, I can't remember the name of the build. It's essentially a weapon. It's essentially a build that has even strength and dex scaling, or
quality
one
build.
is quality build. Yeah, that's the one. It's for weapons that scale with like CC or CD or BC. Those kind of weapons that scale like that, where you want to have an even number of strength and dexterity, with a little bit more into the one that scales higher, so you get the most damage at the weapon. So you're talking like in the majority of cases it'll be like 27 strength, so you can wield any weapon that requires 40 strength and lower, and about 40 dexterity, so you can use any weapon in the game and you still get a little bit of a dex bonus, along with slightly quicker casting and slightly better bow damage as well. So quality builds are something that I would suggest looking up if you do want to give yourself a little bit of a challenge, obviously, because you're not building dexterity, intelligence or faith, something that scales significantly well with weapons. You do get a little bit less damage, it becomes a little bit tougher, but at the same time a plus 15 weapon is only going through one defensive resistance. Elemental weapons are going through both physical and an elemental resistance, so you can end up with lower damage using a lightning plus 5 weapon than say a standard plus 15 with the right build.
It does depend, but now you also want to remember to pick up that chunk through that invisible wall in the chest
and cracked red eye orbs, I believe.
Yeah, and there's we're just mopping up the last few items down here. There's nothing particularly great in New Londo, but it's just a good place to farm for chunks.
This little platform we're on right now, if you follow that round behind where the Dark Wraith is, it takes you straight to the back of New Londo, where it takes you basically right to the left where we took it down to get into here, just below where we
just at that
released
gate
the floodgates.
The gate that leads into the Valley of the Drakes.
Yeah, that's what you drop off a ledge nearby there, so if you do want to go back and quickly run through Valley of the Drakes, then that is the way back. That would be quickest from this point anyway, other than just a Homeward Bone or Dark Signing, which is I've never been in a position where I've thought Dark Sign. I am going to run a test though, because I want to know if Dark Sign is quicker than Homeward Bone, because then it gives its use some sort of viability.
What do you mean quicker?
As in, would it be quicker to cast Homeward Bone than it would to cast Dark Sign? Or would it be quicker to use Dark Sign Homeward Bone, because then there would actually be a reason to use Dark Sign? Because if it's like almost instantly, then it's much better than Homeward Bone's channeling time, it would make it a more viable option as opposed to Homeward Bone, which is just quite simply...
Still, if you're that bad that you need to use the Dark Sign, then you might as well just
There's only one time I can think of you ever using the Dark Sign, and that's if you have recently died twice, lost all your souls or your humanity, and you're literally doing the run to grab a weapon or a soul packet.
And you don't have any Homeward Bones.
You have no Homeward Bones. No, in fact, I'd use Dark Sign.
Okay, right, so
if you did have Homeward Bones and you have nothing, I'd use Dark Sign.
So right here, obviously that leads up, like we're just, right now we are below...
that building right there is the house that had like the most ghosts in it.
So right, here we are is the summon sign for Witch Beatrice. Now you can summon her and she'll help you with the boss battle, but we don't. She's such a shit NPC.
This is the reason not to summon her is the exact same reason as why you don't want to summon Solaire or Lautrec for the Gate and Dragon. What they do is they give the boss more health, more damage, etc., but they are inherently useless. Plus, she uses sorcery, and the Four Kings have got rather good magic resist. The Four Kings' biggest weakness is fire, so it's even more reason to have your Glove at Ascended +5 by the time you get here. And lightning they're pretty much neutral to, but lightning has such high damage anyway that it doesn't matter. Before you go into this fight, please remember to equip the Abyss Ring, the Ring of Artorias. You need that so that you can land in the Abyss. If you don't equip it, you will essentially just keep falling and die. But you do need it to walk the plains of the Abyss, and it's a difficult area to like sort of understand first time, because there's no concept of distance, because it is just all black. You can't really figure out how far away they are, how close they are. You just keep running until your character model conflicts with their character model, essentially. That's when you know you're near enough to land your halberd heavies.
Now, the next thing to remember is the Four Kings are one of the more challenging bosses of the game, and we put on some extra armor and stuff thinking that it would help, although really when it comes down to it, so if you if you have stats even somewhat comparable to what we have vitality wise, really they won't actually be a problem so long as you remember to dodge their attacks. There's only really 2 that you need to watch out for, so and even at that, the grab attack doesn't even do that much damage. So
what you want to be in mid roll for this fight as well, just touching that, because you do want to build up some sort of poise. Having the poise is incredibly handy, because when you're low in health,
poise is very good for this.
I would say poise is the most important thing about this match, because what you're able to do with poise is that when they hit you, they don't do an awful lot of poise damage on their stand attacks. So when they hit you, you're able to use an Estus while being hit, which means that they'll do damage to you, but you're able to heal through it. Thus, it makes you more efficient when you're fighting them, especially since if you leave one for too long, another one can appear.
Now, another thing to do is,
be careful.
With the 4 Kings, you want to be really as aggressive as you possibly can be. You want to inflict as much damage as soon as possible, essentially. Now, the Crest Shield would probably have been a better option for this due to the high magic, the higher magic resistance, so you can block their magical attacks. Plus, it still has 100 physical, so just keep that in mind. But really, the reason you want to be so aggressive is you can do enough damage to one of the 4 Kings that you eventually only have to fight either maybe 2 if you're lucky, or 3, which you'll see here is when they're dying, in the dying animation, you can still damage them.
Yeah, so in the exact same way that Gwendolyn, when he goes to teleport, you hit him, you hit the little light aura that he leaves as his channel in his teleport, you hit that, and it does more damage to him as well, even though he's chancelled. Right here you see us hitting them as they dissipate, and that gives us another 2 or 3 hits of damage that we otherwise, most players would probably wait for, because they're under the impression that you can't hit them at this point. So right here as well, you do want to take these guys out as quick as you can, hence why hyper aggression and having a bit of poise is really good, because then you can go hit for hit with them and you can heal through their hits, and the quicker you kill them the better, because after a certain time on one, when one of them's there, a second one will appear. If you still haven't killed them by then, a third one will appear. Up to 5 of them can appear at any one time. Although they're called the 4 Kings, up to 5 of them can appear for some reason. Who knows? But yeah, if you do want to see the ramifications of that, the channel I was talking about earlier on, Vegeta, he done one that just basically shows you how good rolling really is and how good the invincibility frames are. He stays in the fight and avoids all of the 4 Kings attacks until all 5 of them appear, and he still manages to win the boss fight, just because he's managed to perfect his rolling timing against all their attacks. It's really amazing how he's managed to go through that. But this guy, look there, that heavy attack while he was channeling took them down to almost death.
So now for this last one, you don't need to really kill it fully. You only need to kill it enough so to just take off that last bit of health.
Yeah. That's what we're saying as well. Although it's called the 4 Kings fight, you can do it by killing 5 of them. You can do it as well by killing 2 of them if you make the right build, which would be like Power Within, the Red Tearstone Ring, probably some sort of really high dex weapon with a crystal magic weapon buff on it, something like that. It would be really high damage and things you'd have to do to kill them and only let 2 of them spawn. But it is more than possible. You can check it up on YouTube. It's similar to these sort of one-shot boss fights where you go in and you kill the boss with 1 hit. Stuff like that. Because there was a guy, you know that build that we made where we shot the little imp in Londo and shot it out of the game essentially? Yeah, that build, a guy managed to one-shot Quailag with it using the demon hammer.
I've seen someone do it with the Hellcat. I've seen someone do it with
runs in, smash, Quailag's dead after 1 hit. So it is possible to do more than enough damage. You could probably kill these in 1 hit, provided you had enough strength, enough intelligence, Red Tearstone Ring, power
you
within,
could probably,
stuff like that.
I mean, if you'd done that, if you hyper-moded yourself, you could probably just make it the 1 King as opposed to
as long as they don't hit you first, you should be able to take them out in 1 swing if you do want to go for that build. So right here, I believe we put our intelligence up to 15 for... There was a spell we wanted to use. It was 15 intelligence, and I can't remember why we put it up.
It may have been like just so we could use Chameleon or repair weapon or something like that, but...
Could have been.
Regardless of that, that is us...
essentially finish New Londo.
There's just a few things that we want to do now.
Right now as well, after you take on the 4 Kings and you kill them, you can walk the plains of the Abyss without the ring. That's really more to help the Dark Wraith Covenants, because they're not going to want to wear the ring every time they go back to their covenant, because it's just a waste of time. So after you kill the 4 Kings, the plains of the Abyss are walkable without the Ring of Artorias, hence why we managed to switch back to the Ring of Fog before coming back to Firelink. And now what we're going to do is we're going to pop all our souls so that we can level up some more as well. because
we're only popping a couple at this point. Actually.
Yeah, we're only popping enough to level up one more time because I believe we're going to get our endurance up. I think.
I guess we'll see. We can't really remember what is specifically that we've done at this stage, but
yeah. Well, soon I believe it's after Seath we start building more points into.
Yeah, we put up more endurance.
No, yeah, we put up our endurance, and we also bump our strength and dexterity up by 4 points each as well, so we can use the weapon from the DLC, which is one of the most difficult weapons to get in the game from a boss. From my perspective, anyway, it's incredibly annoying because how much damage you have to do and the amount of opportunities you have to do it are so limited. But you'll see us do it anyway, and we do it first time. We kill Calamite first time. After enough times playing against Calamite, I think it's safe to say I have perfected smashing the shit out of him constantly.
So right now we're speeding up, and I cannot remember where it is that we went at this point because right now the video is frozen. So
yeah, it was probably a run to the.
I think right now we're going to Ingward.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, we would have been going back to Ingward to talk to him so that we'd have him back at Firelink Shrine for us. That's the most likely scenario for it, but. Otherwise, yeah, talk to Ingward, get him back to Firelink. He will appear where what's his name? Where Big Hat Logan sits with his young apprentice. There's a little room.
It's a little bit behind it.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. There's a room when you go up those steps that lead you towards the lifts to the parish. There's a room on the right just behind where Big Hat Logan and his apprentice sits. That's where Ingward will sit because he's used to the dark in Londo, so he wants to sit in the shadow.
So yeah, here we are at Ingward, and just talk to him and he'll go back to Firelink, like we said. So the last thing that we really need to do after we've talked to him is to get Beatrice's armour.
Yeah.
Now we get this once you've done the 4 kings, we are then going to go back to Valley of the Drakes, and in Valley of the Drakes is where Beatrice's set will show up. That's just like her armour and her catalyst, and yeah. So after this sped up bit, I think it would take us back to Firelink Shrine. Don't quote me on that because again it's sped up and we can't see the video for some reason.
Yeah, it seems that our editing software is having trouble giving us the preview of the sped up video, so it should correct itself hopefully. It doesn't look like it. Stop recording the voice track now, fix the video and then we'll go back to recording it. Sorry.
Okay, so we're back at Ingward actually, and that's fine because we're just going to talk to him and exhaust his dialogue like we've done with a lot of other NPCs.
So you leave New Londo, as you've seen there. He believes that his purpose in New Londo is no more really an issue now that we've released the floodgates and eliminated the Dark Wraith problem. But yeah, after talking to Big Hat Logan here, that's why we put our intelligence up, because your intelligence has to be at 15 to speak to Big Hat Logan and get access to his store. You speak to Big Hat Logan,
and he sells that stuff, but you don't need to buy any of his things right now.
No, you don't have to. You get a chance later on in the game where more of his spells are available. You do have to buy all of his spells at some point so that you can complete.
Do you not need to talk to Big Hat Logan first before he'll actually go?
Yes, you have to talk to him first because it's this way. You have great potential. Don't go and die on it. I believe prior to that he says that I too will be leaving soon, and then he says you have great potential. Don't go and die over nothing. And he says it with such malice that he's just don't go and die for nothing. As in just reaffirming that if you're going to die, make sure it is actually worth it, such as saving the entire fucking plains of Lordran.
So yeah, just to make a point, I'm fairly sure that before you go to Crystal Caves, you need to have 15 intelligence to talk to Big Hat Logan.
Yeah.
You talk to him and then he'll show up in the prison.
Yeah, what happens is when you talk to him and he says don't go and die over nothing, or if he even says I too will be departing soon, etc, etc, he will move to the Crystal Caves upon leaving Firelink Shrine.
So yeah, so the last bit of this is just as you've seen, we were started in New Londo, and this is basically just where you'll find Beatrice's set. Now you'll notice that our armour's slightly different. We recorded this way later in the guide, but just that's it there. And
we forgot to pick it up. It was actually upon walking through here to probably farm for a few dragon skills in the way through Valley of Drakes or something like that we realised the item was there. So that is where it is. After you kill the 4 kings, the armour set appears there. You may have to. In fact, you won't even have to save them quick because you have to use the bonfire to get out of the abyss anyway. But yeah, thanks for watching, guys, and we'll see you in the next video, which is Duke's Archives.
Rate, comment, subscribe. Bye.
See you guys.